Welcome back to Fuji's Farmstead. It is July in the garden, and Fuji and I are enjoying this beautiful Sunday afternoon in the garden. So we're gonna walk around and see what has changed from last month. So let's start over here. We've got some morning glory that's flowering and it looks kind of pretty. I'm not sure if I'm gonna keep this here because it kind of looks messy a lot of the year, but I do like the little pretty flowers. So Fuji, come on, let's go. Here is our little yuzu lemon, and it has just been struggling since I planted it. It's got some little baby lemons, and I have gotten some actual fruit, and it was really delicious, but I think I've done a couple things wrong since moving here and planting a lot of these things. So I think that by planting it on this little hill, I think that that was just not ideal. And then also I recently learned that for trees, you're supposed to use the tubing that has the holes, every foot or so, so that it gets like more water to the roots away from the root ball. So I'm gonna think about redoing some of my trees. Maybe not this one because maybe it just doesn't like its life right there. But yeah, this is our pink lemonade lemon tree over here. And then we've got an Emily Bronte rose here, which has bloomed a few times. And we have a little orange tree here. And again, I think the trees that I planted on the hill, I think those are just having a little bit of a harder time. So I'm gonna reassess and see if maybe I should move them or what I should do with that. But our passion fruit is looking beautiful, and there's all of these beautiful fruits. Last year, I got about 50 pounds of passion fruit from these 3 vines that are covering my chain link fencing, and so that is very exciting. This is a Santa Rosa plum, which I planted 2 or 3 years ago, and it was just really struggling for the first couple years. So last year I chopped it all the way down here, and this year it actually it's grown quite a bit of branches and some leaves, and I actually did get 2 fruits. So I might end up keeping this here. I ate one of them the other day and I was gonna let the other one ripen, but it looks like somebody else got it. Oh wait, here it is. Oh yeah, somebody else got it, darn it. But I think that I'm gonna keep this tree since it's looking a lot better now. And then we've got a nice little fig tree here. This is the Black Mission fig, and it's got some fruits. And last year the beetles ate them, but this year it looks like they're looking a lot better. And then this right here is a tiger stripe fig, and here is a little baby fruit. And so hopefully we'll get more of those shortly. And then the passion fruit is just going berserk. Oh, look at this. Okay, so this is the fruit cocktail tree that did really good the first 2 years. I got a ton of peaches the first year. I got a ton of plums or nectarines last year. And then this year, it's got started getting all of this leaf curl, and it didn't really produce any fruit this year. But I think it's because I really haven't fertilized it in a few years actually, and I think that these need a little bit more nutrients. So I'm gonna look into that. But look at, we've got like a little guy. But lesson learned, I think that they need some more food. And then this is our Ruby Supreme guava, and it's delicious. It's my favorite tree in the garden. And this is really exciting, this banana tree. Let me see if I can try this actually. It's good. Small. Right here we have a rack of bananas. So I got my first rack of bananas over on that tree over there about 6 months ago, and I think I left it on the tree a little bit too long. And so they just started splitting, and most of them were not really that edible. So I think I'm gonna chop this off while it's green. So if anybody knows when you're supposed to harvest these, let me know, because I don't want to pick it too soon, but I also don't want them to go bad. So our apple espaliers have fruited quite a bit, and I did not thin them this year just to see what would happen. And I can say that you definitely need to thin it. I thought it would be fine just to have like slightly smaller apples, but these are like bite-sized apples. So next year I will be thinning them like I did the first year, because the apples were actually a really good size and they're really tasty. But as you can see, it's like a one biter. Fuji! Fuji's catching butterflies. What you doing? Oh, and then over here, another big rack of bananas. So that's exciting. We can look forward to 2 sets of bananas here shortly. Oh, and then over here, we have our garden beds with tarragon. There's a bunch of little baby cherry tomatoes. These ones are the little orange ones, and they're really good. And then this is just like a regular tomato, like a red tomato. It's got aphids on it, but it's still giving me, still giving me some tomatoes. But look, I think this is called blossom end rot, and I think it has to do with inconsistent watering. But I have gotten some good tomatoes from them. And then this one over here has some cute little tomatoes as well. And oh, we got some jalapenos. So I'm actually gonna pick these because I want to make some crab ceviche a little bit later. Oh, and look at these. Oh, beets. I planted. Oh, so we have some beets, but unfortunately, I don't think I will be eating them. I had a little bit of a beet incident. Well, I don't know if it was from the beets, but I ate a ton of beet greens last year from the garden, and I sauteed it up. Oh, one of my jalapenos. I sauteed up maybe like a Dutch oven sized portion of beet greens, and with vinegar and garlic and salt and pepper, it's delicious, but it wilts down to be not a whole ton. But I ended up having a kidney issue, and I was actually hospitalized for 5 days, but I think it was from the beet greens. I heard that there's oxalates in leafy greens, and if you eat them in really large portions, then it can cause problems. So the doctors didn't think that beet greens could do that, but I don't know what else it could have been, because they did like 70 tests on me. So I'll give these to my mom because she loves beets, but I'm not ready for the beets. So over here, we've got a Bear's lime tree, and it's got all these little baby limes on it. And we've got a grapefruit, and this had all kinds of flowers, but still no fruit. I mean, there's like little flowers kind of emerging. And then over here we have a Meyer lemon tree with lots of little lemons. I'm excited for citrus season. It's my favorite time of the year. Oh, and then these dahlias, these poor dahlias. I don't have irrigation set over here. And so those dahlias were from seed from last year. And this one was, I believe, like a tuber that I planted. And it was so pretty when it was in its prime. But I have done a really poor job hand watering those. So they don't look the greatest. But the bougainvillea looks great. All right. It's really hot out today. Okay. And then over here, last year, this is where all of my veggies were. But this year, I've just had so much going on. I really haven't had a lot of time to dedicate to starting a bunch of seeds and harvesting all the time. So I made this into a pumpkin patch, and this was actually a volunteer plant from last year. I grew a bunch of pumpkins, and then I probably left one out here, and then they just regrew. And they started out so early because I think that these usually don't get ripe like this until like later in the summer. So I don't know if a gopher ate these or it's just like the end of their life cycle because they started earlier. But yeah, I've got a ton of pumpkins for Halloween really early. And then this right here is a Sugar Rush peach pepper. And I'm going to use this for my ceviche as well. I think they're really pretty. There we go. And this was just from last year, so I didn't have to start this plant, and it just kind of survived. So let me get my peppers. We've got our beets, and right over here, we've got our beautiful dahlia patch. And they were doing so good about a month ago, and then the gophers found like the jackpot, and they've been going after a lot of my favorite ones, but there's still a few. And so I've been picking these constantly and making bouquets out of them. And they're very pretty. This one's one of my favorites right here. And then there's just bees and butterflies everywhere right now. So, oh, and this is a Lysianthus actually from last year. I didn't know that these continued. I didn't know that they would come back for us. Whoop. And then over here, our Eden climbing rose is working on its second flush. The first one was a lot bigger than this. It had so many buds, but I'll take it. And then this was our really cute sunflower hedge that replanted from last year. And we had so many sunflowers, but those are almost done. And then, oh, look at this. We've got a little zucchini. I think this one's called the Palermo squash. I did start this from seed because zucchini is pretty easy to start from seed. And it's really nice because I've just been harvesting maybe like 1 or 2 a week versus one year I planted a lemon zucchini, which was delicious. And I just love that plant. But I had to come out here and harvest like 20 a day, and then trying to figure out who to give it to and what to do with them was a little bit difficult. So this year it's all about low maintenance because I don't have as much time to dedicate to things, but there's still a lot of bounty and a lot of beauty in the garden. Look, there's a butterfly. Ooh, right there. So let's see here. Oh, and then also this little cucumber. So I thought it would be cool if this little cucumber would spill over the edge here, and then I could harvest little cucumbers. Let's see where Fuji went. Oh, and also, okay, so last year the corn was glorious last year. By this time, it was really, really high. And all I did last year was, this is just bare, not great soil, very rocky. I put down a little of those drip lines, the brown tubing with the holes over 12 inches. And I topped the top of just the rows with a couple of inches of compost from the garden compost facility, like the bulk compost. So it was like $10 for a yard or a half a yard. And, you know, my mom couldn't believe it because she thought like it couldn't grow in that little of soil, but it did fantastic. And so this year, and also last year, I made the mistake of planting like 4 different varieties of corn. So they ended up coming out kind of weird. So I still ate some of it, but it was like some were like blue and yellow. It was like a mix of blue corn and yellow corn. So this is all a sweet yellow corn, the same variety. And I just thought, hey, it wouldn't hurt to just pop some seeds in there. But it's not doing as good, but I did plant it a little bit later than last year. And I don't know if you can see, but there is a little corn growing on that. So we'll see what happens when you just do absolutely nothing and then stick a seed in the ground. I don't have high hopes, but I just kind of like being outside in the garden, but I don't always have all the time to like do all of the work right now. So this is our little iceberg rose hedge, which is looking beautiful. And we've got a giant mammoth sunflower right here. And I'm gonna, this whole area was filled with sunflowers, and I just took the heads off and then I sprinkled them all around my yard. So hopefully next year it will just multiply and multiply like it did this year, because all the sunflowers out here were from just last year, just like a can of sunflower seeds that I sprinkled. But I'm excited for the giant mammoth because there's like a million seeds on here, and I'm just gonna, around the perimeter of the property, scatter it, and then whoever makes it, and that will just be like a fun little thing to enjoy. And then over here, the Eden climbing roses are blooming again, not as much as the first round, but still super pretty. And yeah, I think that's just about it, huh, Fuji? We've got some more iceberg roses over here. And then we're back to where we started. So the calla lilies are no longer blooming. The foxgloves, sadly, have left us for the season. And then we've got some hydrangeas over here and some, this is a Mystic Spires blue salvia. But man, the gophers, they're really everywhere right now. So I've been working on that as I can. But anyways, thank you so much for watching the July garden tour, and we will see you next month.